supposed to go 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to the Breaking Burnout for Nurses podcast. I'm so happy that you're here today with me because I have Susan Sheppard, RN for more than 50 years. And she's going to share a little bit about her career and how she avoided burnout for 50 years. But first, let me just tell you a little bit about her. She's been a nurse since 1964, and she worked in the ER, emergency room, and also as a nurse manager there, and for about 40 years. And then also she worked at Fox Television as a nurse, as a medic in the studios. So that was for about 15 years. So she's had quite a nursing career. She's also been an entrepreneur, and she's partnered with several people and groups over the years of building businesses. And so she is also a coach, a relationship coach, and helps people through their struggles. So today I want her to share with you her vision and her ideas about how to live life so that you don't burn out, whether it's at work or whether it's with your relationships, right, Susan? So thank you for coming. I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks for having me, Bonnie.
All right. So first of all, 50 years as a nurse. Okay, that's a long time with whatever job you have, and especially with nursing in the emergency room. What is your attitude that helped keep you sane through all those years? I mean, that I don't care what job it is. That's a long time to be in a job, and you must have had certain attitudes and rules for yourself that kept you sane. What were they?
So we have to start before I became a nurse.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to be a nurse.
Okay.
I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. But I was in high school in the 50s and very early 60s. I graduated from high school in 1961, in June of 61. But when I was in high school, I wanted to take mechanical drawing, and the school board wouldn't let me because I was a girl.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Okay.
And then when I was ready to go to college, because I was an honor student, I went home to my parents and I said, hey, we have to fill out these financial forms so I can go to college. And my dad said, well, there's no money for you to go to college. We got insurance policies on all of you kids. I'm the oldest of 6, 3 boys and 3 girls. We got $20,000 policies for the boys and $2,000 policies for the girls, which made me really mad.
Oh my gosh.
Because I said, why am I even getting grades? If you aren't going to let me go to school. I mean, I'm in the college prep. I'm taking all these college prep classes and stuff. And my dad said, well, you say you want to be an engineer. No daughter of mine is going to be an engineer. And I went, oh, well, what can I do? He said, well, you could be a teacher or you could be a nurse. And I thought, well, I don't want to be a teacher with all those little rugrats running around. But I liked science and I liked people. So I said, well, I suppose maybe I could consider being a nurse, even though that isn't really what I want to do. But I found a school counselor who helped me find a school that was affiliated with Northwestern University. And so I went to a 3-year nursing school for my $2,000. Literally, I got my nursing education for 3 years, year-round, room and board included, for $2,000.
The good old days, right? Or sort of, not really the good old days.
So when I was getting ready to graduate, which was a challenge because I was always in trouble because I have a big mouth and back to people, Well,
but things haven't changed in that respect, right?
When I graduated, I sat down and I thought, there's so much about this work that I do not like. I don't like having to be subservient to doctors. I don't like having to get up and give up my chair when a doctor comes to chart. I don't want to have to do only what I'm told all the time. So I thought, where can I work in this hospital when I'm graduating so I don't have to do any of the things I don't want to do? And I came up with two answers. One was the operating room, and one was the ER. The operating room, I ruled out right away because, first of all, you don't get to meet any new people because all the patients are unconscious and you see the same every day. Plus, it's freezing cold in the operating room all the time.
It is, yes.
So that was out. So then there was the ER. And when I was a student, there was a robbery in the ER. The Brinks guys used to come and cash people's checks, and some guys snuck through the tunnels and robbed the Brinks guys, and one of them got shot. And I was wheeling him out to go home. He got shot in the leg. And I got my picture taken by the press, and I got my picture on the front page of the Chicago Sun-Times.
Oh,
I
wow.
thought, well, I could get famous being an ER nurse.
Well, that's one way, right?
Well, and plus I knew I wouldn't have to do the same thing ever 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
And for me, that was really important.
Never a dull moment.
ER, I got a job. I worked in the ER. And I worked in the ER at Evanston Hospital, which ended up being the very first trauma center in Illinois.
Which hospital?
Evanston Hospital.
Oh, Evanston.
In Evanston, Illinois. It's right on the north border of Chicago.
Okay.
So, and it's on Lake Michigan. It's what they call the Platinum Coast. I think a lot of very rich people live in that area and further north, a little bit further north. But I actually grew up in Lake County, which was in Wisconsin. But anyway, let's get on with this. Otherwise, I can chatter on about all this stuff, this nonsense. But anyway, it turned out to be a really good choice for the ER because, my intention was really that I was going to go back to school and become a doctor or do something else. But I liked being an ER nurse because, number one, we had more autonomy than nurses in any other part of the hospital. We saw the patients first and told the doctors who to see next. And in the ER, when I started there, it was an intern that was a doctor in the ER. And so starting in July, July 1st, it's brand new interns straight out of medical school. They have no clue what they're doing. So we got to tell the doctors how to work. But the bottom line was that it was exciting and it was fun. And I never had to do the same thing 2 days in a row. Mm-hmm. Apparently, I'm kind of a natural leader because I ended up being the charge nurse on the 3 to 11 shift within probably about 3 months.
Wow.
So I worked in that ER for several years until I got married and we moved to Oklahoma for a year. And then we moved to California after that. So we moved to California in 1969. And I worked in the ER. I mean, I loved the ER. I loved the chaos. I loved the unpredictability of it. I loved the fact that it was different every day. And my philosophy about work was when I stopped loving it and it stopped being fun for me, I would quit and go get a different job. Mm-hmm. I didn't get a different ER job. I kept getting ER jobs. I just went to a different hospital and would have different bosses because my issues were pretty much always with administration, not with the patients.
Okay.
So then I did that for years and years. And then I actually went back to school and I got a business degree. And then I became an administrator. Well, actually, I'd been kind of a head nurse before that. And then being the head nurse, the first administrative job I got because the person who had the job before me was assaulted by a patient who was a PCP OD, who literally grabbed her by the hair, twisted her neck, and ruptured 2 vertebrae, ruptured 2 discs, vertebral discs, and she ended up on permanent disability, and I got promoted. So that was my first administrative job.
So that's one way to get promoted.
Get promoted, get your boss assaulted,
So you got thinking back, you got one job in the ER because the guy got shot in the leg, and then this time you got promoted because your boss got assaulted. So unfortunate things. That's one way to get promoted, right? With the,
what I will say to you about ER is it's not always a safe place.
yeah,
You know? And
that
one
would
of
be
the
scary.
things I did, literally, I had 6 different administrative jobs. I kept, well, I'd get fired and then I'd get a better job.
Wait a minute, wait, back up now. So why did you get fired?
Well, because I had my own priorities. My priorities,
what were they?
as an administrator, my priorities were the patients come first, staff come second, and the rules come third.
Okay, yay.
And administration never liked it that I would break rules sometimes. But the way that I broke rules, it was always about taking care of the patients and taking care of the staff. So my feeling is rules are a guideline, and sometimes they need to be bent.
Yes. Okay, great. I love that.
So I did. And I must have been pretty good at it because I had staff that followed me to 5 different hospitals.
You had a following even at that time.
I had my own little what do they call it? Groupies.
Yeah.
No, they were great nurses who liked the way I treated them. I mean, the one way that I helped to prevent burnout for my staff was always the first thing I ever did when I became a manager was I would take the schedule and I would make how many people needed to be on that schedule. And then I would give the schedule to the staff and I would say, fill in the days you want to work. You all know how many people have to be here, who all has to be here. So you do the schedule and then bring it back to me, and whatever adjustments need to be made, I will, consult you and make adjustments. But there was one hospital where I had 75 employees and only one full-time employee. All the rest were per diem and travelers and float people. And I never had a problem replacing people because I would give them the days off they wanted because they would fill out their own schedule and I would just approve it. As long as there was a charge nurse there and there was the right mix of people there to take care of the patients, I was fine with it. And so my staff loved the fact that they got to do their own schedules. And the only problems I had when I was doing stuff like that was the other head nurses would get annoyed with me because they would find out that my staff was doing their own schedule. And their staff would want to do their schedule, and those people had more. They were more control oriented than I was.
Well, you must have had enough staff though to cover. The staffing must have been better in those days.
No, it was ER staffing.
Oh, ER. Okay.
ER staffing. So we didn't count by patients.
Oh, okay.
We had, in the busy ERs that I worked in, and I worked in a lot of busy ERs, trauma centers, UCI ER. I was the head nurse in the UCI ER on the 3 to 11 shift. I had 5 departments. I had the base station and the trauma ER and the walk-in ER and the peds ER. And, there was 5 different areas. And then there was a occupational clinic too. And I did that, was the manager of all those places. So, I had a lot of employees. I had like 75 employees most of the time at the bigger.
That's a lot.
Where I was. And so I had 24-hour responsibility and, but I did get fired a lot.
Well, you had your groupies.
Well, after the second time, it sort of became a joke. It was like, okay, all this is just a clue that it's time to move on to something bigger and better. That's all. Because I never
there always was something bigger and better, right?
I didn't think I ever got fired for doing something that I considered to be wrong. Mm-hmm. I would pay employees for doing something extra, or I'd give them overtime for stuff and things like that. And administration didn't like it when I did those kind of things. I just felt it was fair to the staff to take care of them. And I figured if I took care of them, they would take care of me. And it always worked for me. But that was a way I helped them not to get burnt out. help the staff not to get burnt out, because I know that scheduling is always a nightmare for staff. When I was just a staff nurse, it was always a problem, because if I needed a particular day off, I would have to go and beg for it. And I just figured, it's their life. Why should I be controlling their life? It didn't make sense to me. So.
Well, I can see why you had groupies, Susan. I want to thank you for being on my show today. And I would like to have you come back and talk about your business calling Getting What You Want. How would you like to do that for me, please? I would love to have you back.
I would like to come back,
So everybody out there, I don't know if you're watching on the YouTube channel, which is Breaking Burnout for Nurses podcast, or if you're listening on Spotify or iHeartRadio or any other channel, the Apple channel. Anyway, so please go to the YouTube channel and subscribe and like and comment and all that, and then come back and listen to and watch the YouTube channel or the Spotify or all these other channels. And I will have Susan Sheppard back to talk about getting what you want. See you next Monday. Bye.
Bye, Lonnie. Thank you for having me.
Yay.